Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Lyon. Today, we have a very special guest, Ryan Tsai. To introduce him just a little bit, he's a National Merit Semifinalist, ACT 36 perfect scorer. He got a perfect on the SAT 2 Mathematics 2, AP Calculus BC, AP Computer Science, both got fives. He's a three-time AMY qualifier and Math Club and Science Bowl co-president. So Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Um, I'm Ryan. I'm a senior at Harvard Westlake. I live in Los Angeles. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Great. So Ryan, were you born in California?
Yes, I was born in Los Angeles, or Santa Monica more specifically.
Great. And what elementary school did you go to? What middle school did you go to?
I went to Turning Point from like kindergarten to sixth grade, and then I transferred to Harvard Westlake for seventh grade all the way to senior year.
Nice. So Turning Point and Harvard Westlake are really different schools. And for our LA viewers, you probably know what those schools are. Can you tell us about how that transition was from elementary to middle school?
It was interesting because Turning Point is a pretty small school. I think I had maybe 30 kids, 30, 40 kids in my grade in sixth grade. And then moving to Harvard Westlake, it was like a massive jump because there was like 200 kids in the grade. And I didn't really know anyone going into Harvard Westlake. I knew a couple, only like two kids who I wasn't really friends with. Um, so it was a little, it was nice though, because Harvard Westlake had so many more opportunities for me.
In your introduction, we talked about your great mathematic ability and your successes in competition mathematics. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I mean, I wouldn't call it like amazing. Like I'm not like going to the IMO or anything, but in terms of math things, I guess you mentioned it before. I qualified for the AMY 3 times.
So Ryan, for viewers who don't know about the AMC and math competitions in general, can you explain a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, I mean, math competitions are basically what they sound like. It's just a competition where you do math. It's usually at least one test. It can be either team or individual, and you're just competing against others to see who can do the best. The AMC in particular is probably the biggest competition in the world, or nationally at least. It's an individual competition, and it has multiple rounds. So the first round is the AMC, and if you are in the top either 2.5 or 5% of AMC takers, then you qualify for the second round, which is the AIME. And from there, you can keep qualifying until you get to the IMO.
Can you explain the next steps and the qualifications to get into those later rounds?
Yeah, sure. So if you qualify for the AIME, then it's the same form. The AIME is basically the same format as the AMC, except it's like 3 hours long as opposed to the 75-minute AMC. It's 3 hours long. There's no multiple choice. So it's definitely a lot harder. And then they compound your AMC and AIME scores to see if you'll make it into the third round, which is depending on what grade you're in, USJMO or USAMO. And so the third round is a proof-based round, and it takes place over multiple days. If you do well enough on those, then you can go to the MOP, which is over the summer. I don't know too much about it because I have not made it there, so I don't know too much about the format of it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
After the MOP, what is after the MOP?
And then after, if you if you qualify in the MOP, then you go to IMO.
Cool. And can you tell us a little bit more about the IMO?
The IMO, which is the final round, is the International Map Olympiad. So it's a team of 4 people from each country, and it's one final round to see who wins.
Great, cool. And just to say again, but Ryan is a 3-time Amy qualifier and is definitely well versed in this field of competition mathematics. When did you start preparing for the AMC 8 and 10, 12?
The AMC 8, I mean, I think I hadn't heard about it until 7th grade, maybe. So yeah, I did not get a super early start. I really first learned about it in 7th grade, and I don't know, I just took it because I heard about it in math club.
Great. You talked about having a late start. If you, first of all, would you recommend competition math for other students who enjoy math in general?
I mean, I think if you want to take math to the next level, then yeah, I certainly think competition math is good. I mean, I like it, so I don't have anything bad to say about it. But it's not necessary, so it's really up to the student to decide.
Great. Do you think competition math, especially at the higher levels, are more effort or talent?
I think it's a combination of both, because there's certainly a limit just because of time where you need to, because of the time constraint, you definitely need to have some things memorized, like formulas, like methods of solving a different problem. I mean, that's definitely a huge factor. But also, I think natural talent is also very important, because if you encounter a problem that you don't know how to do immediately, then being able to intuitively figure out a way to do it is also really important.
Has there been a time when you saw someone with inherent talent so much greater than you that you wanted to give up?
I'm not the type of person who sees someone a lot better than me and wants to give up. I'm someone who more sees that, and I want to push myself to be as good as them or even better.
Great. What is the best age to start preparing for competition mathematics if you are interested in mathematics and you think you have a talent in it?
I mean, I don't think there's like a single age where it's the best to start preparing. It's like, if you are really interested in it and you know you want to kind of try it out, then you can just do it whenever you feel like you want to try it.
Do you think this is something that you can study by yourself, or do you think being in a math club or a math circle or having tutors or mentors is important?
Um, I mean, I definitely think it's possible to be self-taught. However, having a lot more resources like AOPS, for example, that's a really good way to kind of accelerate your learning.
Can you talk a little bit more about AOPS to our viewers who might not know about it?
Yeah, AOPS is Art of Problem Solving. It's a website that's kind of dedicated to not just competition math, but math in general. But they have a lot of programs, online programs where you can learn more about learn math, or prepare for some competitions.
Great.
I,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, personally, I have not done it, but I've heard a ton of really good things about it, and I know a lot of the best people use it.
Great. And this is the information that our viewers really want to know. Is competition math good for college? Does it look good on college?
I mean, I won't lie, it probably does look good for college. If you can say like, yeah, I'm an AB qualifier, like that certainly helps. But that I don't think that means you should do it just for that purpose of getting into college. I think you should really only do it if you really like math, because if you aren't liking math and you're only doing it to put it on your resume, you're better off spending your time putting that effort into something else that you really do love. Because no matter what, like if you put your effort into something productive, then colleges will see that and they'll appreciate it. It'll help.
Great. So how much time in a week do you spend on preparing and studying for competition mathematics?
I mean, personally, my main practice comes from math club, which is once a week. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depends on the day. And I also do math circle at UCLA, which isn't specifically competition math, but it is like extra math things. It's more proof based and theoretical. And then leading up to competitions, usually I'll do a couple practice tests.
Has studying for competition math helped you in any other parts of your life, whether it might be school or thinking creatively?
Yeah, I think it does help for certain, because some of the problems require you to really think out of the box with how you're kind of going about solving it. And so I think in real life, you can definitely use that in many places. I can't tell you like the exact extent to which it's done that, but I think it's definitely helped somewhat.
Great. Apart from competition math, on your profile, you are a perfect. Okay. You are a I can't talk. You are a perfect ACT scorer and a national merit semifinalist. And what that means is you scored top 1% in California on the PSAT. So obviously you're really great in other subjects as well. Can you tell me a little bit about your academics and school life?
I don't. I mean, my philosophy for school is just to take the things that I want to take because I'm actually interested in them. And so if you take classes that like truly interest you, then you'll have an easier time learning.
So just do that. Take the classes you love, and you'll get perfect grades like Ryan. Great. Obviously, in terms of test taking, you're really great at that. And there's a lot of kids who are currently kind of working on that. Do you have any tips for test taking in particular?
I mean, I will say I am not great under pressure, but some things that help me with tests are knowing, I don't know, I think something that I do with strategies is just knowing when to move on.
For reading, are you the type of person who reads the text first and then solves the questions? Or do you read the questions and then read the text?
I am someone who reads the text and then the questions. I just read the text so I get a sense for like what's happening in it, and also so I can remember it when I'm reading the questions. So when I read the questions, I can go back to the text and I know generally where the section that it's talking about, and so I can answer it more quickly. But I think I know both strategies are definitely valid. I just personally go with the former.
Great. So Ryan, you have great grades. You do really well on tests. What do you do to prepare for tests at school in mathematics English, history? Can you go into what you do for each of the subjects?
I guess I can go into each of the subjects. So for math, for example, um, that one I don't study as much for just because I'm more naturally talented at it. And so mostly the extent of my studying will be reading over my notes just to remind myself of the formulas uh, and kind of how to use them.
Can you remind me what math class you're currently taking?
Currently, I am in multivariable calculus with Lyon.
Great. So tell me a little bit about that journey from wherever you started to taking multivariable calculus as a senior, which is generally a college course.
I mean, as I said before, my elementary school was a small school, and so there wasn't like any advanced math courses. I was kind of in the same thing, and I don't remember exactly which grade. It was around fourth grade, I think, where I kind of got bored in math at my elementary school, and so I decided to start taking online courses for to kind of accelerate and keep it more interesting to me. And so I did that for a couple of years until sixth grade, and then when I moved to Harvard Westlake, I went into Algebra 1, which was normally the higher track because of my previous prep. Um, and then I kind of just stayed on that higher track throughout all of school. And now I'm in multivariable calculus.
As a side note, Ryan took the Algebra 2 uh, placement exam and passed, but personally chose to go with the majority and just take Algebra 1 and how do I
I
put this?
barely passed.
He passed. Okay, great. Cool, great, great, great. Amazing. So how would you study for, um, you've been doing competition math for quite a long time. So obviously we would assume that your science and mathematic abilities are relatively well trained, but English and history are completely different subjects. How do you excel in those subjects? And what do you do before taking a test?
I'm going to start with history since that's probably the more basic one to talk about. History is, I'll be honest, not one of my favorite subjects. However, okay, so to study for history, I'm mostly just going over my notes. I'll read a section of my notes and then I'll test myself on it. I'll force myself to kind of repeat back the information that I just learned. And then I'll just continuously do that until I don't know, get through all of it. And then I think it's a little easier for me to do that just because I think my memory is better than average. So it might not work for everyone, but that's personally what I do.
In regards to English, people do think that engineers or mathematicians can't do English. What's your opinion on that, and how do you prepare for English class?
I mean, I disagree, obviously. I mean, probably at the start of Harvard Westlake, I wasn't the best English student. I certainly wasn't bad, but I think one of the things that I'm best at is being able to adapt and learn. And I'm a fast learner, I think. So, for example, in English, I've kind of learned pretty quickly how to analyze the text and write it in a way that is convincing. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't have a lot to say.
cool. Do you read a lot in general, Ryan?
I used to read a lot. Like, I think I started reading when I was 2.
Wow. 2 years old. I was barely walking time. So wow.
I mean, I wasn't reading books. I was reading like simple, like I was reading like a word or two. But um, yeah, I mean, throughout probably, I want to say until like sixth grade, I was reading like, I was basically my entire life was reading. Um, and then since coming to Harvard Westlake, I've not done as much reading, but I still read like occasionally.
Great.